I've had three tiny plastic boats, the Water Tender 9.4 from West Marine, the Pond Prowler 10 from Bass Pro, and now I just purchased the Sundolphin American 12 from Tractor Supply Co. And we're going to walk through what it's going to take to register these tiny plastic boats. Now, we're mainly going to focus on how to register brand new plastic boats, and this kind of goes for kayaks too. It's all the same process from a department store. And then we will talk about registering a used boat without registration and title in a used boat with registration and title, because the Water Tender I had never registered, the Pond Prowler was registered, and the American 12, well, that's brand new. All right, so you walked into Academy, Bass Pro, Tractor Supply, any of these different places, and you bought a 12-foot John boat, you bought the Water Tender, you bought the Pond Prowler, the Pontoon, the Bass Raiders. All of this is going to be pretty much the same process, but I'm going to use my Sundolphin as the example. So first things first, you purchase it, great, keep the receipt. Now you don't need the receipt to register your boat, but you will need the receipt to prove that you paid taxes on your purchase when you go to the DMV, or whatever they call it here in Florida, the tax collector's office. So even when I bought my trailer from Tractor Supply, it was $100 in taxes. If I didn't have that receipt, of course they would still register it, but I would have paid $100 in taxes at Tractor Supply and another $100 in taxes at the DMV. So definitely keep your receipt. I only paid $45 in taxes, but that would have added up to be about $90 if I didn't keep the receipt. So number one, make sure you do that. A digital receipt can work as well. In fact, I just had my wife scan it into me while I was at the DMV because I totally forgot it. That's pretty easy. Okay, next let's talk about the documentation you're going to need for the DMV, and the main event here is going to be the MSO, the Manufacturer Statement of Origin. This is what you're going to get on a brand new boat, and I requested that they go get it because I've done a lot of research and I knew that I would need that document since it's a brand new boat and it's never been registered. So I requested, hey, just bought the boat, got the receipt, would you mind going and grabbing it for me? And they went right back and they grabbed it. They knew what I was talking about. Now I have heard that some employees, they don't know what an MSO is. They don't know where it's at. They've never heard of it. And some of them, when you say it, I've heard, when your grandparents looking at the credit card reader and it says remove card and they just give it kind of a blank stare for a couple seconds. Sometimes you'll get that look as well. But it's no big deal because even if they don't give you the MSO on the spot, you can get it for yourself for free with a link in my description. We're going to walk through how to sign everything and fill it out and do all that stuff and everything that you're going to need. But make sure you request this on the spot, because if they give it to you right then and there, they can fill out whatever they need to fill out, so that way you can go directly to the DMV. When they ship these Sundolphin boats, all the documents are attached to the transom, but in transport and they sit outside, especially in places like Tractor Supply and Academy, they fill up with water, the bag fills with water, and the original MSO gets destroyed, but it doesn't matter. You don't need the original manufacturer statement of origin. They're online at their website, so you got a printer, I got a printer right here. Download the PDF, print it out, and that's the same thing. You don't need the original document. It's not like a title or anything. In fact, that's exactly what happened to my MSO when I bought it from Tractor Supply. It got flooded, it got ruined. They, in fact, printed it off the website ahead of time for me, handed me the new copy, and you just got to fill it out. Now, let's talk about that real quick. All right, so here we are on the Sundolphin Manufacturer Statement of Origin website. So this is the exact document that they are shipping with the boats, whether you get them or not from Tractor Supply or wherever you buy it from. It's not the end of the world because you can always get your own. Now, funny enough, Bass Pro Pond Prowler Statement of Origin, it's actually going to take you to the same manufacturer's website, KL, and it's going to be pretty much the exact same form, and it's even got the same signature on it. So as you can see, it is pretty much, I got it right here, pretty much the same thing, and it's got the same KL. So, fun fact, BassPro.com, it's the same thing no matter who you get it from. All right, point being, here is what the document actually looks like. They provided this to me at the store, but if they don't, you can just get it here. Okay, so the cool thing about this is it actually does come with instructions, but we'll blow through it just real quick. All right, so here's your date, and this is where they wrote Tractor Supply, the store address, and all that fun stuff. Make and model of the boat, I just wrote down Sundolphin American 12. They accepted it. Model year, I put 2024 because that's when I bought it, but they had issues at the DMV, so it was actually a 2023, but they should be able to figure that out. But that did take an extra 15 minutes because, well, I don't know when the boat was manufactured. Anyway, moving down here is your HIN, your whole identification number. This is going to be located on your transom, most likely. Year built, you can just put 2024. Length, of course, fill that out. Now, propulsion, you're buying these without an outboard. So the Tractor Supply employee actually checked manual, but at the DMV, they X'd it out and they switched to outboard because, in fact, I did plan on putting an outboard motor on it. So they just went ahead and put outboard. Now, whole material is already pre-filled, plastic. Horsepower, I left that completely blank because I'm using a trolling motor at the moment. And, of course, it doesn't come off the lot with a motor. Sometimes they do, but they don't in this case. So then you've got the signature right here. Now, moving down here is when it gets a little bit weird because this looks complicated, but this is, in fact, the instructions, and it really breaks it down. So there's also the first assignment and the second assignment. Now, full disclaimer, I have no idea what the difference is between these two, because if you look at them, they are the exact same. So I only filled out the first assignment as provided by through the instructions here, and I had no problems. I don't know what this means. The DMV didn't need it, they didn't care, and there's no instructions for it. So I guess we'll skip over it. But of course, your name, your address, amount of lien, it's going to be 0 because you're probably not getting a bank loan to buy this boat. And you don't need to fill everything out. Like I said, it just follows through here. Now, here is the most important part, the one part where the employee who sold you the boat, or any employee on the property, in fact, can do this, but they need to sign it here. So they printed their name here. They put their signature here, and they put their position here. It's as simple as that. Not the guy who sold me the boat, but just some random lady at the customer service desk. I actually left with this document, didn't realize they had to sign it, and I had to come back the next day, and they signed it immediately for me, no problems, and I went directly over to the DMV, they accepted it, and it was good to go. So that is how you get the MSO if you don't already have one, and that is how you specifically fill it out, because I know I was a little bit confused with the second assignment, but rest assured, nobody said anything about it, and I got it registered, no problem. So there you have it. Keep your receipt, get your MSO one way or another, properly fill it out, have it signed by an employee at the department store you purchased it from, and head to the DMV. I paid $35, got my tag and numbers, and it's good to go. Now let's talk briefly about how to register a used boat, because you know I'm always a huge fan of buying used. However, I went new this time because they had a nice sale. So my water tender I bought used, but it was only used on a private lake and pond, which did not require registration here in the state of Florida. I never actually registered this boat because I wasn't a huge fan of the water tender, so I took it out a couple times unregistered and I just ended up selling it for a profit. But all you need if you're buying a used boat that's never been registered is simply an executed bill of sale. That's all that they're going to request from you, at least here in the state of Florida, because there's no title, there's no registration, there's no nothing. It was bought, someone sold it used, no registration, no issues. There's only issues if it's been registered before, which we're about to talk about. But buying used boats with no registration is actually pretty common here in my area. Lots of private lakes, lots of private ponds, and just some folks who flat out don't register their boats, like my Pond Prowler that has never been registered. Well, at least to me. All right, now we're going to walk through real quickly. It's pretty much the same concept, just with an extra step on how to register your used boat that has already been registered. This was the situation I found myself in with the Pond Prowler. The Pond Prowler I purchased, it was used, registered out of Georgia, and I couldn't get the DMV to register it. It's still not registered to this day, but we've got a lot of fish. Okay, so what you're gonna need here is an executed bill of sale to establish proof of ownership and the title. So I walked in to the DMV with a bill of sale. They said, is it registered? I said, yes. They said, all right, where's the title? I said, I don't have it. It's registered out of Georgia. They don't have a title for it. So then they requested the physical original registration from the previous owner. I was like, all right, I'll see. The seller was no help, so I never got that original registration. Of course, never got a title, so I never got to register my boat. So make sure you are very careful that if you are buying a boat that is registered, you do get the title, and if it's from out of state, figure out what their laws are. Do they need titles? Or do they flat out simply not have the documents that they need to register the boat, and you just bought a boat that you can't legally use? As you guys know, we use them anyway. What are we gonna do? Not fish? Heck no, baby. But there's no reason to buy a boat that you can't register. Unless you get a screaming deal, then send it, dude. Anyway, all 50 states have the power to have their own unique processes. This is my processes I've been through for my boats in the state of Florida. Do your research on what documentations you will need or maybe not need, and especially do your research on what documentations that you will need from out-of-state registered vessels, because that was the issue I ran into on boat number 2, the Pond Prowler. Anyway, we've talked about how to register new, previously registered, and used but never registered. Hopefully this helped. This is a general guide as laws change, and hey, there's 49 other states out there that do things a little bit differently. But for the most part, everybody's going to want a signed MSO properly from the place that you bought it. That's the main event here on today's video. Anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any problems, let me know. If you're from out of state and you have some differences, some discrepancies between what I've told you today and what you have learned from registering in your state, please let me know in the comments below. Let anybody know your problems. I will answer any questions I can, but most importantly, let's try to start a little forum down there in the comments to help each other out and get everybody's boat registered as quickly and easily and with the least amount of stress, because sometimes with these little boats, it can get tricky and stressful. Anyway, happy boating, tight lines, and God bless.